Okay, here we have a Sub-Zero 427R wine cooler combination refrigerator. And it's got a freon leak, and we're going to replace both evaporator coils in the wine cooler section. So here's all our equipment. First we put a rug down or a mat down to protect the customer's floor. We have our recovery system, or brazing equipment, a scale, nitrogen, the 2 evaporator coils, and our hand tools. So the first thing we're going to do is empty the refrigerator. Okay, so we've emptied all the wine and racks out. We hooked up our gauge. We're running in about a 15-inch vacuum here. Definitely has a leak. So we're going to remove these back panels so we can get access to the evaporator coils. Okay, so you have to remove this little bushing here so you can get the sensor wire out of the way, and then you just pull out the panels. So here's the upper evaporator, and somebody's worked on this before, because here's the original sensor which is attached to the evaporator, and it looks like they didn't know how to get that out, so they just taped it in and stuck it onto the evaporator like that, which is not the kind of work that we do, so we'll have to fix that too. And then we have the bottom evaporator, which is pretty similar, so we'll take this panel off and then we will. Okay, so now we have our recovery system hooked up. We're going to put any residual freon that's in the system into this charging column. So let's turn this on. It's still in a vacuum and the unit's off, so let's turn it on. Open up the gauge. Let that run for a while. Make sure the system is empty before we cut the coils out. Okay, we are down to 28, maybe 29-inch vacuum. We'll close off our charging column. Close off our gauge. Disconnect our lines. And get the recovery system out of the way. Let's see. There's absolutely nothing in here. Oh, wait. I don't see anything. So now we loosened up the screws on these evaporators, and now we want to cut this insulation so we can unsweat the joints. I'm going to probably need a sharper knife here. Okay. Try not to damage this, because you're going to have to put it back on. There's the joints right there. So we'll peel this back, expose the tubing, stick that up there, and when we unsweat this right here and right there, and also here we have, here's the evaporator coils. Here's the part number 72257. Here's the coil, and these are not instructions. What this tells you is how much freon this unit takes based upon the serial number of the unit that's going in there. So this is the new coil. It'll go in just like that. So we'll unsweat this and move it out. As you can see, I'm going to have to fix this sensor wire. There's a Phillips head screw back here, and I'm assuming that the reason why whoever worked on this before didn't put this sensor in the right spot is because they didn't want to take this out, which is, in my opinion, lazy. Okay, we will be back. Okay, so here's the filter dryer for the wine cooler, wine compressor. This compressor says wine system. So
we're going to cut this high side line and then open up our low side lines. Make sure there's no gas in there. And then we'll proceed.
Okay, here we go. All right, she's out. Okay, that's the new evaporator. Let's clean out the lines here. Okay, we got a little flux. So the new evaporator coil goes in like this. The holes line up and all that. That's not a problem. But the problem is the suction line heat exchanger tubing is a little too long, because this is an aluminum evaporator and have this copper tubes sweated in. So we have to trim. We can trim the suction line so that it fits into the evaporator coil here, and then this one, the capillary line, we can just loop around and put in. So we're going to cut this suction line right about, let's see, maybe about here. Okay. So we cut this much off the heat exchanger. That looks like about maybe 1 3/4 inches. And we fitted our cap tube in there, so now we're going to sweat this in. Got a piece of protective aluminum back there, and that's it, so it doesn't damage the wall. Okay, so now I just want to double check my joints here. This mirror, see in the back. Looks okay. Okay. Okay, job done. Temperatures are pulling down. Everything looks good. This looks good. We are done.